Hi guys, still here with a new video, and this video we will talk about how to counter unholy decays in solo shuffle, but also in threes or in twos. And I'm going to talk about the weaknesses of unholy decay because a lot of people are actually complaining about unholy decays. And I want to make it like a series where I'm talking about all the specs that are actually posing a problem. Of course, I'm not going to say how to counter outlaw rogues because that is not a problem in this current meta, right? But if Unholy Decay is a problem to you, this video will help you to to know what you want to do versus Unholy Decay. Unholy Decay is, despite popular beliefs, Unholy Decay is not S tier or God tier. I think it's a really good class though, a really good spec. I made a solo shuffle tier list video a few days ago, and also made a Unholy Decay PvP guide video where I also discussed about the weaknesses. And no, it is not S tier because it is actually highly killable and also highly stoppable. Yes, it's not like as stoppable as, let's say, a Frost Decay, which I'm also going to discuss about this in this video. Although Frost Decay is not a problem, I'm still going to give you a bit of like tips where you can actually stop a Frost Decay yourself. Although I don't think you really need that because currently Frost Decays are not really doing that well. But anyways, Unholy Decays, how do you stop it? Now, the best CC in a game, which is something that in League of Legends is very popular, is death. If you actually can kill Unholy Decay, that's actually the best CC possible. And you're going to say, but that's some crap advice. Of course, we're going to kill Unholy Decay if it's possible. Well, that is the first advice. Do try to focus the Unholy Decay. Because I feel whenever I'm playing a soul shuffle and I am not targeted, that's like the best soul shuffle experience I have. Because that's also the best games I can have as Unholy Decay. I will have a lot of uptime, a lot of CC potential, a lot of damage, and a lot of like weight towards the game. Whenever I'm actually like the target and I have to run for my life and try to really play a bit of a pillar game because again I'm very squishy. Every windwalker just watches me and looks at me, and I have no like trinkets or I have no iceborne fortitude, and he leg sweeps me. I'm going to get some hefty damage. And yes, you have a PvP talent as Unholy Decay called Bloodforge Armor. Again, it's not really the most popular PvP talent for Unholy Decay, so the probability that you actually are facing someone that has that is very low, first and foremost. And also, it's a duration of 3 seconds, and you have to actually do a lot of death strikes to have some good value and uptime on it, which effectively kills their death coil damage. Because whenever you're going to use your death strike, you're not going to use your death coils, because again, runic power is not something that we are starving from, but if you're using most of your runic power to death strikes, the probability you will do more damage on your death course is very slim. So again, try to focus the Unholy Decay as, let's say, a melee, but also as a caster. I think people are overestimating AMS. Of course, if you're an affliction warlock, I mean, you're going to cleave anyways, but of course, you're not going to target the Unholy Decay because imagine you're AMSing, he's AMSing at the same time you're actually doing a Drain Life. There goes your stacks. But I mean, of course, if you're a Fire Mage, you can just go blow through that because of 2 Pyroblasts. And even just Pyroblast into a Fire Blast, the AMS is gone, for example. It's not really as strong as it was before. There is no Spell Warden, so there is no like real passive tankiness towards Unholy Decays. This is pretty much the cookie cutter build. Of course, this is like my personalized build. Again, if you want to see my build as Unholy Decay, I made a PvP guide about it and with a lot of explanation because the video is very long. But I think a lot of people would appreciate that. You're not actually taking Gloom Ward because you have to take crit, and crit is not really the best stat for Unholy Decay. Although whenever you're critting, it does a lot of damage. So absorbs are doing still less. So AMS, AMZ. Again, AMZ is not something you're going to pick the best version of it. So again, you can't just go through the Unholy Decays, but you have to know that you have to target the Unholy Decay. So that's the first tip I would give. Now you're going to say, but look, you have the choice between Unholy Decay and the Shadow Priest. Of course, we're going to go to Shadow Priest. Well, you're correct. But the good thing is, if you're going for the Shadow Priest, and let's say you're playing a warrior, good thing is you are actually going to cleave the Unholy Decay as well. And everything you can actually cleave, you will do so. And if you actually can do a big switch on the Unholy Decay, often than not, you will catch them without an Iceborne Fortitude because they used it for a stupid stun, for example, or you will not use, or they will use the AMS offensively to actually deal the damage that they want to deal. And at that very moment, if you're playing with a caster or with a melee, you can actually catch the Unholy DK off guard. They don't have huge defensives. A lot of the defensives are actually tied towards your offensive powers and Holy DK, because you're going to Iceborne Fortitude, sometimes just a stun to actually continue the onslaught, or you're going to AMS to actually like go forward. So that's the trick number one: target the Unholy DK. Now, the thing is, you should also know there is an ability called Death's Advance. A lot of people are actually like wondering. Again, it's something not a lot of people know, but they like the people that know, they know, of course. Death's Advance is actually making them immune to forced movement effects and knockbacks. It means that if you are Elemental Shaman and you're trying to push an Unholy DK or a Frost DK or a Blood DK, and he uses Death's Advance before, you're not going to push him because you cannot force him to move. Same for Static Field Totem, doesn't work. Same for Spear of Bastion, they can actually do Death's Advance and they can just walk away from it. They can also AMS, but you can still walk away from it. That's why Spear of Bastion is actually a very bad ability by itself. But anyways, unfortunately for me, because I really like Spear of Bastion. So this advance is a very, very strong ability. You cannot slow them below 100% normal speed, and they are going to be 35% faster. So it's really, really strong. Often people have like 2 charges of it. How do you counter it? By not using your pushbacks on a disadvanced DK. If you see it, just do not press your like huge defensive, which is a knockback, out of the window for nothing, right? Of course, pushing the DK is not always the best option because he will grip you, onto you. But what you can do is actually push the DK out of the line of sight of the healer. He will grip you like a dumbass, and then you can just do a counter attack. Your healer is, for example, CCing their healer, and there goes your DK. The DK is dying. So just try to play around that. Just remember, Death's Advance is a thing. For you healers, by the way, Strangulate is a big stun, but what you need to be aware of is his Strangulate. I mean, Asphyxiate is a big stun, but Strangulate is a silence. So you can also, if they are dumb, they can always silence the DPS. You can actually dispel it. That's a good dispel. It's a good use of a dispel, and you should notice it as well. Try to walk away from the Death and Decay. I know it's like tempting to stay and try to like battle each other without like moving, but Death and Decay actually give them some huge AoE cleave potential, and you don't want to be cleaved down by Unholy Decays because they do a lot of damage first and foremost, and you're going to give them a lot of runic power, a lot of like runes back with Death Cause, also easier to actually do some spread damage, and overall you're going to get stopped. I think those tips are very vital if you want to be successful in Soul Shuffle versus Unholy DKs, because I see a lot of people actually like tank and spank versus them, and that's not the way to go. If you're actually training the Unholy DK, what he has to do is mostly run and Chain of Eyes and try to, of course, deal damage from afar, which effectively will make them have less festering wounds on you, which effectively will also diminish the necrotic wounds onto you. So it means that it's all benefit. So they will be just more killable, but also dealing less damage. Which what you should know, and what is very important, is right now in this current state, Unholy DK is actually dealing their damage themselves. And you're going to say, but how is it different from season 1? Well, season 1, the damage came from minions and pad damage from their dots, for example, and it was like summoning a ghoul, summon A-bomb, for example, abomination, for example, and they will deal huge amount of damage. You'll see on details that the Unholy DK themselves, their death goal is very low, and their Clouding Shadows is very low. Actually, they're not even playing Clouding Shadows, they were playing the other talent, which is Plaguebringer, so actually deal more damage with the diseases. And by themselves also, just wounds were dealing a lot less damage. Right now, it is the contrary. Minions deal literally just pad damage. It will never kill someone. It will never actually bring the damage necessary to kill someone. the dots are actually doing 5k a tick. Even if they're like playing with super strain, that will not change. The damage is very low. So what you should be aware of is their clawing shadows, death coils, and also just in general if they have apocalypse or not. You can actually track it with Omnibar, for example, or other add-ons that actually can track some CDs. Now it's very hard to track it. It's really a low CD, and you cannot really always escape that. But what you should notice is that you can disarm it. You can disarm Unholy Decays, which again gives you a bit of time to actually breathe. But also in general, it's a big counter for them. They will deal a lot less damage. Their damage will come only from death cores, but again, if you're disarming in at the right time, they will only do like 2 death cores, and then they will just lose a lot of like the steam that they had. Sometimes you can also like ruin their necrotic not necrotic wounds. You can also ruin their like festering wounds on your target, like on you, on yourself, or their target, and sometimes it can just ruin a whole burst potential. Of course, you can always play with weak auras, whatever. You can all have a dark transformation weak aura, which automatically will track the force set from Unholy Decays, which is giving mastery, which is giving more damage. You can also just try to line the Abomination Limb, which is very hard, let's be honest. But it deals a lot less damage than in before, like in Season 1 or even in Shadowlands. In Shadowlands, it dealt 20% of the damage, and right now it's not dealing 20% of the damage of Unholy Decay, but it's very annoying to deal with the grips. You can always try to track the Mind Freeze again with Omnibar, very easy. And you have multiple ways to actually track the CDCs from Unholy Decays, like for example, Blinding Sleet, Triangulate, and Asphyxiate. So that those are the tips what I would give for Unholy Decays, how to counter them. To be honest, the first tip is probably the most important one because I'm still seeing that. I'm still seeing people actually go for the Paladin, the Retribution Paladin, instead of the Unholy Decay. Like for example, if you see a Retribution Paladin with Unholy Decay, your mind should always be Unholy Decay. I don't care if Retribution Paladin was the kill target a few patches ago, a few expansions ago. Currently, Retribution Paladins are actually very sturdy and very annoying to kill, especially they have Divine Shield. If they're not dumb, they're going to use it. They have Bob, they have even Spell Warden, like the spellcaster Blessing of Protection, basically to protect themselves. They have multiple ways to actually be more tanky. Their healing is pretty subpar, but everything around the Retribution Paladin just screams tanks. So just go for Unholy Decay, and you might just win the game instead of that. It's also like, again, they can misplay. The Paladin cannot bob the Unholy Decay, for example. A bob is also dispellable, so if you're playing with a Resto Shaman or a Disc Priest or a Holy Priest, the bob is just generally going to be gone. So again, I think just in general, play around killing the Unholy Decay, and you will have more success. People will realize it. Of course, there are comps where it's very hard to kill Unholy Decay. Let's be honest, if you have like augmentation evoker Unholy Decay versus you, yes, it's very hard to kill them. If you're facing a Shadow Priest Unholy Decay, yes, it's very annoying to go for Unholy Decay and let the Shadow Priest Fury cast. But sometimes you have to make tough choices to actually have some kill potential. Right now, Shadow Priest is actually very hard to kill, for example. They have a lot of self heals, a lot of like self peels. Again, they can fade a huge burst cooldown from you, and then you're gone. You're out for 30 seconds or 45 seconds, for example. So I think in Holy Decay, personally, whenever I'm the target, I am highly killable. I feel like I'm losing a lot of steam very quickly, and I have to count on the healer actually knowing how to heal. But if you're targeting my mates, well, I will know how to peel. I will just grip the targets away from you. I will try to slow them constantly. I will try to constantly CC the targets for the caster to actually win the game, for example. So if they went for me, I would not be able to self peel myself, except doing like a chain of ice and running away, or doing my CC as well. But it will be very selfish. It will not be very effective. So if you try to go for the Unholy Decay, you will have that. Now let's talk really briefly about Frost Decay and also a bit of Blood Decay, because you see a bit of a resurgence to it. Personally, I sometimes like meme about a Blood Decay, but I think the damage is alright. I think what is really lacking from Blood Decay is actually some really burst potential. That's pretty much it. It's really unkillable. Let's talk Blood Decay really quickly. Do not target him. They have multiple CDs. What you want to do is actually kill the second target very quickly. They have a lot of damage from Death Strike, so do not underestimate it, but do not target Blood Decays. Or you can actually target Blood Decays, but only if you can actually just do a 100% to 0 with your burst CDs. If it's not possible, you're going to just see the Blood Decays full heal themselves, or if the dampening is very very high in the solo shuffle match because the match is going way too long, you can just then go onto the Blood Decay. They will heal a lot less to themselves, but also shield themselves a lot less, and they will be also a lot more killable. That is my tip for Blood Decay. For Frost Decay, pretty much, it's very annoying to talk about that, but pretty much you can have a weak aura, or you can just play with visual. Again, I play with visual with Pillar of Frost because I do know how it looks. It looks like this, and also now you do a Pillar of, if they do a Pillar of Frost with the 4 sets, you will see also a big Frostworm going for you, and you're not going to get stunned. So pretty much you can just see with a visual cue what you want to do. If you are a melee with a disarm, play disarm every single game. If you do not play disarm, even if you're a sub rogue, even if you are like assassination rogue, if you're outlaw rogue, if you're a warrior, any warrior, if you're, I don't know, windwalker, especially windwalkers, you have to, because you can actually have it like from range. If you're playing a survival hunter actually has now like the tar pit or tar trap or whatever, that actually like disarms with PvP talents. You have to play that. That is the 100% most annoying thing to deal with if you're a Frost Decay. That is getting disarmed while doing the Pillar of Frost go. You have to literally play with Trinket. So right now I'm playing double Trinket, but you have to actually play with Trinket to Trinket the disarm. And what happens then? You stun him. So now he trinketed for the disarm, so he already plays super aggressively. So in his mind, he's going to say, look, if I already trinketed for that, I have to Iceborne Fortitude the stun, because else I'm just losing the value on the trinket, but also I will lose value on the Pillar of Frost, so I lost everything. So now, the Iceborne Fortitude. What's next? You probably play a class that has another CC. If you're a warrior, you have fear. If you have a rogue, you can gouge or blind. Blind, probably not, because you still want to kill the Frost Decay. Frost Decay is highly killable. That's the same actual tip that you have for Unholy Decay. Just go for Frost Decay. Pretty much use your gouge running away, or I don't know if blind, but I would not blind the Frost Decay, but gouge, for example. If you are like a survival hunter, try to just root trap them, for example, and run away. What else? If you can hex them, but it can also AMS, but whatever. You have multiple CCs available. If you're a warlock, fear them. What they're going to do, again, they're going to say, trinket, I trinketed the first disarm, and then I get the stun, and they, like, in my brain, I want to have my Pillar of Frost being somewhat meaningful. I Iceborne Fortitude, and now I'm feared. What's the next step? I'm going to Lichborn, and boom, the game is over. Frost Decay has literally no defenses anymore. They only have probably AMS over, if not it's used already, because they are going to try to use it preventively to actually have Pillar of Frost being able to be full value. So they literally are naked without the healer actually like spending any defensives, which would and could be also used, because again, Frost Decay is the target, so you can also very much kill a Frost Decay. That is the huge weakness to a Frost Decay. The whole thing that is actually happening during the game, I actually see seeing them while Pillar of Frost, and they will just expand a lot of CDs offensively to make their Pillar of Frost be somewhat relevant. The worst part is Disarm has a lower CD than Pillar of Frost. Often, yes, you can have a Pillar of Frost that is like sub 40 seconds, which is possible, but what are the odds that you're going to pop Pillar of Frost on CD versus anyone? It's very hard, because you have to actually double grip into blinding sleet. You have to see it coming. You are probably a very very veteran Frost Decay if you're actually doing it on CD from Pillar of Frost, and then you have to hope that it is not the same CD as a Disarm. Look, the problem is it's not possible. So that's why Frost Decay is actually very bad, because you actually are very very counterable. But I still see people just not pressing their defensives or not pressing their CC on the Frost Decay, and the Frost Decay can just still one-shot someone. But if you actually just use 1/4 of your kit, which is CC, and then another 1/4 in case of the CC doesn't work, 2 defensives, the Frost Decay will just not be able to kill anyone. Of course, there is a mate, there is a windwalker, for example, or devastation invoker, for example, or whatever, or in the social shuffle, like it's very random. But if you can actually stop the Frost Decay, you have to stop them. Of course, there are moments where you don't have CDs and the Frost Decay has CDs. Well, that's too bad. You're going to eat a full Pillar of Frost. But what you can also do is just kite them somehow, some way. If you're playing with Freedom, very easy. Use Freedom and run away. The Frost Decay will not be able to catch you. They will maybe grip you 2 times in a row, but that's it. They will have like 2 obliterates of value on you, and that's it. And also try to not bob as defensive. It's strong, but it's not that strong versus a Frost Decay, for example, because a Frost Decay can go through bob with Frost damage, and obliterate becomes Frost whenever it's a killing machine proc, which is often with Pillar of Frost. Try to not stick together. That's very important. And just in general, I don't think you need that many tips for Frost Decay, but it's very, very like telegraphed. If you see double grip, you know Blinding Sleet will come. Do not trinket the Blinding Sleet. Trinket the stun. If you trinket the Blinding Sleet, you're going to get full stunned and you're dead. Trinket the stun, because Blinding Sleet, again, the damage is not breakable, but it can break. Damage may cancel the effect. That's like what's written. So count on the damage being breaking the Blinding Sleet. If it doesn't break, that's too bad. But if you cannot eat a full stun, which is often with Remorseless Winter or with Frostwing Fury, if you get a full stun, you're going to eat so much damage. So what you want is actually trinket the stun, and you're going to be alright. But if you trinket the Blinding Sleet, then he's going to be like this. It's time for pain, and then you're going to die. No, trinket the stun, you're going to be all fine. Don't trinket the Blinding Sleet. And if the healer is actually not CC'd, he can actually just dispel it. So, again, very big. And if you're a Holy Paladin and you're playing with Ultimate Sacrifice and you get Blinding Sleeted and then stunned, and the 2 targets are together, you're dead. You just have to Divine Shield, because you're going to get double obliterates because of the cleaving effect of Death and Decay, having the obliterate cleave 2 targets, for example. You do not want that. So be sure to not get gripped, or do not play Ultimate Sacrifice while you're having your allied sacked. You're going to die pretty heavily. But that's like pretty much the tips. I don't think Frost Decay needs a lot more than that. Unholy Decay, pretty much, you know what's up. You have to play smart and go for them. I know like Frost Decay is more enticing to kill because it's Frost Decay. They are like C tier, D tier, to be honest, D tier. I get that, but Unholy Decay, even though they are A+, it doesn't mean that they are A+ in defenses. It is purely damage. Once the damage is nerfed, I don't hope they are going to get nerfed, because again, I think if warriors are very strong, DKs are very bad in general, or only like associated together, like in the TSG for trees. But just in general, Unholy Decay, very killable. Do not forget that. Again, thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate you. I will try to make a series out of that. I think next video might be about Enhancement Shaman, because a lot of people are actually crying about the one-shots, which can happen. But it's again, I want to talk about that probably next video, or maybe in the future videos, because I have like somewhat of a schedule where I want to put a video every single day about specific subjects. Also want to make PvP guides about like the specs I'm playing currently. I'm thinking about like Resto Shaman. I think I have a lot of things to say about Resto Shaman, so why not? But there are other specs I want to talk about as well. So again, thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and we will catch you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.